Last week we went shopping in Anglers Anonymous and bought some different lures and whatnot that I like for this time of year. So I want to talk about what am I going to be doing in the months of April and May. I went out yesterday, ran a boat for a friend, and I saw what I've been waiting to see, since last fall, and that was all the little tiny silver bait fish flipping in the water. They're about that long. There's button shad, there's glass minnows, there's little shrimp, there's all kinds of stuff. And the reason that I like the spring and the fall so much is I really like to target schooling fish. That's just what I enjoy to do. And whenever all this little bait is coming out and they're in the big wads, well, then the fish are going to school up and work together to eat and get ready for the summer. What ends up happening is the water starts getting warmer. We start getting our springtime tides. We get the big tides that goes way back in the grass, and then whenever the tide comes back out, it pulls all this bait out with it. And when that happens, then you start getting your trout and your redfish, schooling up and working on that bait. And the flounder, they're coming back in the bay. We're starting to see a lot of flounder. I talked to Captain Pat the other day. He told me that it's not an uncommon occurrence to go out and catch 15 flounder. And the flounder, they're along the grass too, because again, all that bait is coming out of that grass. So in the months of April and May, what I'm really going to key on, especially trout fishing, especially wade fishing, is the outgoing tide. The outgoing tide is going to dictate my entire day. It's going to dictate whether I tell my customers to come in the morning or the afternoon to fish in the evening. That every spring is my bread and butter. And what I do is I will take my customers or just myself or my friends or whatever, and I'll find drains. Typically, in our areas, it's the south shoreline of the bay. Those are the drains that I really like to target. And with that outgoing tide, then we'll get out in front of those drains and that tide will be pulling that bait out. Now you'll really be able to see it well on calm days, and you'll see the water. It's just, it's kind of smooth, but then there's the little wads of it, just little fast ripples. That's usually not wind, especially if it's not a windy day, right? Duh. But that's little schools of fish, little bait fish. And whenever I start seeing those, that's whenever I start using we showed them to you last week. But these little shiny lures right here, this lure's about that long. This little hot rod, these little shiny things. Come on, the camera wants to look at me because I'm prettier than the lure. I'm actually not. This is a very beautiful lure. The little shiny fish, they're in that little wad. Well, then I'm throwing my bait past them and bringing it back, and usually there's going to be predator fish around that wad of bait, and now there's a loner out there. There's one easy to pick off. It's kind of like the wolf mentality. You've got a pack of them here, but there's this one that's just kind of wobbling along. One thing I didn't talk about a whole lot last week is, especially with the mirror lure Miridines, this is a walk the dog type lure. I got a lot of questions last week about it. Does it float? Does it sink? What does it do? It's a slow sinker. It kind of suspends. So I'll throw it out and I'll kind of give it a twitch, and then let it sink for just a second and twitch. I don't work it super slow because the water's warmer, everything's more active and a little bit quicker than it is in the wintertime. I don't work it real slow. Sometimes I'll work it real fast. A lot of times it's kind of right in the middle. And then these Borboleta hot rods here, the shape that they have, you can reel it, just straight reel it, and it's kind of doing this the whole way. But I'll give it a twitch every now and again, but both of them are slow sinkers. And then the other, plastics, obviously, these little 3-inch DOAs. I like the pearl color this time of year because again, we're trying to match the little silver flashy fish. So I like this pearl. Sometimes it has a chartreuse tail, sometimes it has a pink tail. It really depends on what I have in my pocket when I throw it. That's usually my decision there. Captain Pat told me that they're doing really well on Little John still. So, and that Little John's really proven itself to be a universal year-round lure. It's a mirror lure Little John, if you guys don't know, and when you look in the bag, it's just a ridiculous looking lure. It's a rubber cone this long, but man, that thing sure does its job. Now moving on to flounder, again, they're gonna like to be around those drains where that bait's coming out. They're gonna like to be along the grass lines where the shrimp will get up in the grass. Schools of redfish moving down the grass lines. If you're sitting there fishing and you see some bigger than normal, or maybe even just some funny looking water that's got some bigger little wakes or waves in it, a lot of times that can be a school of redfish. The magic is happening on the grass and on the drains. If not now, here shortly. That's the whole. I was gonna do a completely different video this week. Whenever I saw those little bait fish, I said, okay, here it is. You know, April fishing. This is what we're gonna do, and it's gonna progress into May. It's just fun. It's good stuff. I like it. I like it just as much or better than fishing birds. I would say. I really enjoy it. But these little flashy lures, little small plastics, the little small Spook Junior topwater, something flashy, a clown, a chrome, something like that. The little Rapalas is, keyword little. Pat and I, we talk almost every day, and Pat said the same thing that I did, in that something small, time to downsize, time to match the bait. They're not chasing the big mullet anymore. Now they're looking at those little groups of fish. We're going to get the cameras out on the boat here shortly. I'm getting ready for Easter just like all of you guys, but then when we get back, I start getting busy with guiding again. Then we have the fishing show April 14th through 18th. I will be there. Anglers Anonymous is going to be right beside me. Laguna Roz will be right beside that. We're gonna have a lot of fun there. Hang out, tell stories. Come by if you want the best chance to talk and hang out during the week. During the week is usually the best time. Even on the weekdays, there's a big rush from like 5 to 7 or something like that, where it gets real crowded. On the weekends, it's crowded, obviously. But if you don't want to come hang out, weekdays before work lets out can be a really good time. So that's it. April's simple. April's easy. Little bait, little lures, outgoing tide. Fish that. If you have an incoming tide, then just move to where the water's coming in. But right now, the outgoing is my absolute favorite. You guys have a happy and blessed Easter, and we will catch you on the next one.